This is part 3 of the Lease project Excel walkthrough, and it's going to be very exciting. We're using VLOOKUP, so I'm glad you made it to part 3. So we are going to complete this worksheet. First thing we're going to do is what we've been doing in the other ones, is to just give us some stuff to work with. We'll put this in here. But the main thing we're going to do is do a VLOOKUP, all right? And instead of going directly into the formulas in the schedule, because it's just a little cumbersome. I mean, you'd want to do that eventually, but this is just an easier way to understand what's happening. We're going to bring our information into the worksheet with the schedule, okay? So we're going to use this VLOOKUP function, and I'm going to cheat like I'm telling you to cheat here. So I gave you some of the VLOOKUP functions, like for the interest rate here. So now I can copy this into there and look at, voila, it's 6%. Let's see what else I have to cheat with over here. The payment, okay, I'm going to give you that one. See if that one's working. Ah, wow, it's working. Okay, so my lease ID is the lease number. So lease 2, there you go. You see how it this information changes automatically. So before we fill all these out, what I'm going to do is just kind of remind you what VLOOKUP does. So what VLOOKUP does is it says, okay, look up the value in I from, so it's pointing to I3 here, lease 2. So that's the identifier from an array, which is a group of cells, which I'll go to in a second. And then it says, pick the third column in the array that's in the row with lease 2. So what this does for interest rate is it goes, so I picked, this was the array I chose. So whenever you're using VLOOKUP, the thing you're looking up has to be in the leftmost column in the array, not necessarily in the worksheet, but if I, let's say, well, these are all kind of the same, but if I had a unique number here and I chose that as my array, then this would be the leftmost column. But here I actually put the leftmost column in column A. So it goes here, it looks for lease 1, and it goes to column 3. I've numbered the columns up here to make it easier for you. And then it returns that. And then for the payment, it says find lease 1, go to column 12. That's, put that number in the cell, okay? So that's all we're doing here is gathering this information. So I'm going to copy, paste this, and then all I have to do, it's doing the same thing over and over. So all I have to do now is change the column number. So the number of periods, I'm pretty sure that one is 4 because it's right next to the interest rate. So, I guess I don't like the format very much. We'll get back to that, let's say, in a second. Let's just get these columns. The FV, so we look at, that's the lessee's payment. That's column 9. The type, annuity type, is column 11. And the title, I think that's 12, but let's check. No, it's 13. The title is 13. Okay. And I'm going to wrap that text, make it so it won't run over into the next cell. Maybe widen this a little bit. There we go. And I am going to put it to the top so you kind of see the description at least there. All right, and then all I have to do is change some number formats to, let's see, what number is this? And per, I just want it to be a number. The FV is $1 and the type, let's just copy the 4 number format. Okay, so now instead of referring these to the database, what I'm going to do is just point to here. So there's our payment. This is going to this last one payment here in our cash flow timeline is the FV. So this is going to be, let's just start it all over. That was easier. And the last part, just to start over, is the interest rate, the payment, number of periods, comma, then the payment, then the FV. Oh, I put this in order. I'm just totally brilliant here. And there we go. All right, just make it pretty. So these interest expense formula, we're going to have to point to here. And we don't want the row to change. We always want it to point at 6%. Okay, and that numbers didn't change. It's kind of a weird thing. But, you know, let's say let's lease 2. And I change this to 5%. So there, what it did was adjust the payment automatically with the interest rate, but the lease payable amount is still the same. All right. So let me put that back to 6%, but you get the idea. Let's see, these are just formulas that are inside the schedule, so we are all good. And also notice that I put the concatenate up here. I didn't make you do that this time. We did it in the last one. So here's the first part of the title. The second part is just this char. 10 is a hard return, and then I9 is pointing to the title there. And then what I ask you to do is just test it. Lease 1, brilliant. Lease 4, brilliant. Okay, lease 5, don't put lease 5 in here, that's operating lease. We're gonna cover that later, okay? So now you have an automated schedule using VLOOKUP that can produce results for any lease that you might put in there that's a finance lease. This is made for finance leases. Okay. And that's the end of part 3. I will see you in part 4. We're going to do the VLOOKUP just for the lessor.